Here are 15 of the best Ask Reddit stories for today. I hope you enjoy and remember to subscribe. It really helps us out. We post new videos every day.
What is the scariest, creepiest thing you have seen heard? About 10 years ago I had just started dating this girl I'd had a massive crush on. We were fresh out of high school and her parents went out of town for a weekend. I was going to finally sleep in her bed with her and I was amped. I have a bit of trouble sleeping in a new place, so I was awake after she'd already knocked out. I tried to keep my eyes closed and let sleep come. Just as I started to drift off, I heard a sound like scratching on wood, quick and getting faster. I opened my eyes and oriented myself again. It wasn't scratching, it was whispering, and it was getting louder. My girlfriend was rapidly whispering, "She is the devil in disguise, she is the devil in disguise." I turned my head to look at her and her eyes were wide open, looking directly at me but glossed over like she was looking through me. The whispering continued until she stopped mid-sentence. "She is the devil in disguise, she is the devil, he can't help you." She closed her eyes and rolled over, leaving me with a very what the fuck feeling. I asked her about it in the morning and she said she used to talk in her sleep a lot as a kid. I still have no idea if she was messing with me or if she just had odd sleep habits. What is the most important lesson learned from COVID-19? You can have all the free time in the world and still manage to do nothing with it. If there was ever a zombie attack, people would definitely lie about being bit. Non-essential jobs pay a lot more than essential ones. That 50% of jobs can be done from home while the other 50% deserve more than they're being paid. The supply chain is far leaner and vulnerable to the vagaries of pandemic conditions than most had thought. People are dumb as fuck. Apparently, toilet paper is more valuable than anything. Most schools weren't as ready to switch to digital methods as they bragged about. If in a really dangerous situation that requires unity, we're fucked. Like and follow for more. What was the most brutal rejection you ever received from a woman? Been walked away from mid-sentence. The weirdest one I ever had was from a woman I'd been on 2 dates with. She was off on a ski trip and sent me a Dear John text saying, among other things, that she wasn't interested in something short-term. I said fine. I wasn't thinking short-term either, but if she wasn't into it then no harm done. Well, apparently this entire text chain had been curated by her and her friends on the trip as some sort of test that I failed. I was supposed to fight for our relationship, after 2 dates, and do some big romantic gesture to win her back. She had also apparently been talking marriage with her friends and had been planning our lives. So I guess I dodged a train-sized bullet on that one. Back in school, I asked a girl to one of the dances and 6 of her friends took turns telling me she didn't want to go with me throughout the rest of the day. Some of them seemed to enjoy it. Super late to the party, and wasn't a rejection as such, but a girl I had taken out a few times and I were at a relatively expensive restaurant. She couldn't find her phone, so I called it. It rang next to me. I was saved as free dinner. Asked if she wanted to go for a drink at the weekend, and she said yes. Within 12 hours she texted me, "I've thought about it and I really don't want to date someone like you. It would be bad for my image." We were both 18 at 6th form, and I'm still genuinely intrigued as to what sort of effect on her image I would have had. We set up a date, then I drove out to meet her at a cafe of her choosing. At least 30 minutes driving. She ended up ghosting me. No call, no text, no show, nothing. Coffee wasn't too bad, actually. Date sucked. I have conversations with my dead son in the car. My 13-year-old died in Peru after getting caught in a whirlpool. We were on vacation. His mom, my ex, blamed me for his death and our other son also blames me, so he doesn't speak to me. He's now 13 too. I don't force him to see me. When I drive home from work, I pretend that I am talking to my son about how his day was at school, what kind of music he wants to listen to, what he wants for dinner, etc. That is why I haven't gotten a new car. There are just too many memories.
What's the best theory on UFOs or aliens you've ever heard? If aliens are on this planet, they are likely using the ocean as a place to hide. That greys aren't fully biological, but rather remotely controlled androids. Or that they are biological, but their gray appearance is a suit and not the actual body. Imagine other life forms looking at our astronauts saying, "Here come the marshmallow cyclops creatures again." Forgot to say. I reckon we are very DNA planted here and they come to check on their experiment from time to time. Aliens landed once in Africa. Got eaten by lions. Planet now marked as dangerous by the galactic feds. That explains why Australia never has sightings. Aliens don't necessarily mean an intelligent civilization. Yeah. Alien just means a living organism not from Earth. So if we found a plant, fungus, protozoa, bacteria, etc. on another planet, it would be an alien.
What should never have been invented? Pop-up ads. Even the inventor apologized for it. Non-peel-offable stickers. Double unskippable ads. Dental insurance. Teeth should have been covered under medical insurance. Subscription-based programs and items. I don't want to pay a monthly subscription to use Adobe or other items. I want to do a one-time purchase. Goddamn bioweapons, that shit is scary. Ketchup-flavored ice cream. I happily could have lived in a society without Facebook having been invented. Sex bots on social media and spam calling. Subscription to use features of a device you already purchased like BMW's heated seat subscription. Unskippable ads. Microtransactions in games. Flushable wipes. They're not actually flushable. Homeowners associations.
The stupidest thing someone has argued with you about. I work at student loans, and if you have a child under 18 and your household income is under a certain amount, you're eligible to receive a grant to help with childcare. Woman comes in and I tell her with her income she can receive said grant. She says she doesn't want it. I tell her it's a grant that she'll never have to pay back, unlike her tuition fee and maintenance loan. She doesn't want it as her child is 13 and can handle herself. I say I understand, but explain it is offered to everybody in the threshold, so it's basically free money to help people with children. She doesn't want it. In the end, I asked her if I offered her £2,000, which she would never have to pay back, if she could prove her child is dependent on her, would she take it? She said yes, obviously. I say that's what the childcare grant is. She doesn't want it.
You subtly F with people. I look over people's shoulders when they're unlocking their phone so I can see their 4-digit code. Then I pretend I'm making a phone call and very loudly use their number in my fake conversation. Yeah, the address is 8319 Main Street. It's so much fun to see their neck snap back with this what the fuck look, and then watch them mentally process the depth of such a remarkable coincidence. It's even more fun to do it with people you know and don't really like. Say no pun intended occasionally after saying something normal in conversation. Most people don't want to look stupid and will laugh awkwardly while trying to figure out what the pun was. At parties, I like to introduce myself as my boyfriend's sister and then kiss him in front of whoever I introduced myself to. It has to be a peck on the lips, but drawn out just enough to gross them out. It's become a really awful inside joke. He's a good sport about it, though. Once he wrapped his arms around me as I was talking to one of his ex-co-workers and whispered, "Did you text Mom?"
Americans of Reddit, what is something the rest of the world needs to hear? Our national parks are breathtaking. Guys, charging to use the public bathroom is weird. We drive cars because public transportation is non-existent for most people. I live 10 minutes out in the country from my nearest town and 30 to 45 minutes from the nearest city. I have to have a car or else I'm not getting anywhere. Stop telling us where various cities are located as if we're too stupid to figure it out. We know where Paris is. It's in Texas. It's not that we don't want to visit other countries, it's that for the majority of Americans, Canada and Mexico are a day or two drive away, and paying over $1,000 to get a round-trip ticket overseas isn't something a lot of people can justify buying. Y'all are getting fat too. We're not even in the top 10 anymore. We hate our politicians as much as non-Americans do. We do indeed have a few good ones trying to do the right thing, but they are heavily outnumbered by both people, votes and money.
The stupidest thing someone has argued with you about. I work at student loans, and if you have a child under 18 and your household income is under a certain amount, you're eligible to receive a grant to help with childcare. Woman comes in and I tell her with her income she can receive said grant. She says she doesn't want it. I tell her it's a grant that she'll never have to pay back, unlike her tuition fee and maintenance loan. She doesn't want it as her child is 13 and can handle herself. I say I understand, but explain it is offered to everybody in the threshold, so it's basically free money to help people with children. She doesn't want it. In the end, I asked her if I offered her £2,000, which she would never have to pay back, if she could prove her child is dependent on her, would she take it? She said yes, obviously. I say that's what the childcare grant is. She doesn't want it.
What did the weird kid in your school do that you'll never forget? At an all-school assembly during my freshman year, a motivational speaker posed an easy rhetorical question to the crowd, and the weird kid in my grade unnecessarily shouted out the answer, to every bored person's sudden delight. For some reason, trying to maintain his authority, the speaker asked our weird kid, "What's your name, son?" Without pause, weird kid stood up from his chair and loudly proclaimed, "My name is Booger." This announcement was met with raucous applause and laughter from the entire student body. It was gloriously random and weird. From then on, the weird kid was known only as Booger in our small town. It fit him better than Sean, and he effing owned that name until graduation. Went to a large school, around 3,000 students. If anyone said anything to the weird kid that he didn't like, he would stare at you and recite your name and address. A little creepy. Ate styrofoam, and then visibly lied about it when someone pointed it out. Bits of styrofoam were coming out of his mouth. Ate a sheep pie we were supposed to dissect in science class. Man oh man. One day the bell rings, playground doors open, weird kid walks directly to the center and screams for a full minute. I thought it was weird then, but now I can relate. He had a book where he would write in people that wronged him. I got put in for smelling like soap. Hissed at people in the halls and then bit someone. Naruto ran everywhere, told everyone her dad was Harry Potter, at age 12, and most memorably, came to school bawling her eyes out because she said she had laid an egg and her parents had eaten it for breakfast. What human experiment would you carry out if it was legal? You know those YouTube videos where you have like 1,000 US Marines versus 100,000 armed geese? I'd lock 5 people each with completely different extreme political views in a room together and give them everything they could ever need except things that can hurt them. Just gonna watch what happens. I would really like to know how many toddlers I could overcome in a gymnasium fight, have politicians live on basic wage for a month, then get them to do a budget for their community. What is the most important lesson learned from COVID-19? You can have all the free time in the world and still manage to do nothing with it. If there was ever a zombie attack, people would definitely lie about being bit. Non-essential jobs pay a lot more than essential ones. That 50% of jobs can be done from home while the other 50% deserve more than they're being paid. The supply chain is far leaner and vulnerable to the vagaries of pandemic conditions than most had thought. People are dumb as fuck. Apparently, toilet paper is more valuable than anything. Most schools weren't as ready to switch to digital methods as they bragged about. If in a really dangerous situation that requires unity, we're fucked. Like and follow for more. Redditors who almost died, what happened? When I got my wisdom teeth taken out I got 4 sedation. The next day my forearm was a little sore. The next day it was more sore and a little red, so I called the oral surgeon who said it was fine, just take some Advil. The next day it was more red and more sore, same advice from the oral surgeon. The next day the redness was tracking up my vein, and the oral surgeon said it was fine. The first nurse on the other hand firmly said to drop whatever I was doing and go straight to the ER. When I got to the ER they skipped me ahead of everyone in the waiting room and straight back to put different broad-spectrum antibiotics IVs in each arm, and started me on a third one in pill form because I had a blood infection. I specifically remember them saying something to the effect of, "We don't have time to figure out what it is, we just need to kill it." Which Mandela effect freaks you out the most and why? That the Fruit of the Loom logo never had a cornucopia. What's crazy about that one is that someone emailed the creator of the logo about it and he said even he remembers it having one. I swear to God the Monopoly man had a monocle. I'm not sure about anyone else, but I swear I remember Pikachu having black detailing on the tip of its tail. The fact that it's Febreze not Febreze gets me. Avril Lavigne never did a Got Milk? Ad poster. Tinkerbell's dotting the I in the Disney logo. A lot of people say they recall her shaking her wand to try and get it working again. Maybe too late and this comment will be buried, but anyone I know who has owned a smartphone, specifically Apple, at some point can describe a hiking/hiker emoji to me perfectly. We all remember it the same way, emoji character bent over with a hiking stick/pole on the side of a mountain with a backpack on. However, this emoji doesn't exist and never has. Edit, while you're at it check your phone for the black/white striped burglar emojis too.
My husband won't tell me the Wi-Fi password. My husband has a home network and a guest Wi-Fi internet. I'm not techie, so apologies ahead of time. For several years he wouldn't give me any passwords. He said that I would tell people. I called our home Wi-Fi company and they reset the password for me, and apparently now he says that can't happen again. We pay bills 50-50 and always have. We both work full-time. Our money is in joint bank accounts. He will now let me have the Wi-Fi password to the guest account but not the home network. He is concerned I will tell others the password. He is willing to connect me to the home network if I bring him my laptop and he types it in. Thoughts?